G'day Pittsburgh Steelers fans, g'day Steelers Nation Australia, g'day Steelers Nation worldwide, g'day Steelers Nation universe. Jeez, that guy's still a loser. The real tight spot and Christian cunts, they go together. They go together like cheese and wine. G'day mate, how's it going? How are you?
It's going great, Mark. How are you today?
Yeah, good man. I'm I need to know your name. I don't know your fucking name. What is your name?
I've actually told you my name before when we were in.
Yeah.
When you were in my chat, yes.
Are you sure?
Yeah.
I don't think you have.
Well, no. I'm following your page on. We talked already via chat.
I don't remember
because I like the page with my real name. Remember?
Oh, I do, but I don't. I've had a few beverages. Let me guess. You talked to me yesterday. John.
Yeah.
That's not, is it John?
Yes.
Yeah. Let's go. Let's go.
Hey, Mark. Shout out to you, bro.
Let's go! 0-3, baby!
See, that's what I'm talking about, bro. I'm talking about...
I know you have to leave soon, but that's shit. You feel free. You can swear if you like. This is my podcast. This is the Steelers Nation Australia.
It's really frustrating.
Oh, I gave you an out there. No, it's interesting, mate. Like,
There you go. It's fucking shit.
Yes! All right, fellas. So as I was saying, an Australian, Englishman, and an American walk into a bar. Can you finish the rest, or is there a joke there, or?
We'll find out in the next 20 minutes.
What is happening with life in Australian? And shouldn't we? I don't know. I feel like we should be at war or something. I don't know. Like maybe we are at war. I don't know. But how we have an Australian, an Englishman, and an American all in one place? Is that a crazy idea?
Well, when we all bleed black and gold, you can't. The impossible can happen, man.
Yeah, I think it's bloody brilliant, isn't it? Because we're gonna get some. I know that you American blokes think we all, that me and Owen sound the same, but we're completely different, But let's go to live chat straight away, and then we're going to jump into your story, State of the Steelers, and we're going to talk about some Steelers overall. We have Edwin from Facebook. He's from Texas. Know that you're from Texas too, State of the Steelers. Yes, we have Daredevil in there, and he says hanging out from Orange County, California. So isn't that great? Right. American, Australian, Englishman, all talking black and gold. We have Rummage here from Pittsburgh, and I think that's fantastic. It's my 8 a.m. I think Owen's about 12 midnight.
20 past 11, mate.
Oh wow!
And Daniel down the bottom is what's your time? 5, 6?
Yeah, it's about 5:20 right now.
Amazing. It gets me every time how easy you can click of a button and you're straight into the metaverse. You're like, hey, what's going on? All right, so let's find out, Daniel, because you're new to the show. Let's find out your story. What's the state of the Steelers, and what is your YouTube, and what's going on? How did you become a fan? That's 3 questions. We'll start with how did you become a fan first of all?
Well, how I became a Steelers fan, that's kind of a long one. It actually started before I was born. My dad, being out here in Texas, my dad kind of went against the grain, so to speak. And in the 70s, the Steelers versus the Cowboys was a big thing here in Texas. My dad, everybody went for the Cowboys, so my dad had to be, the guy that goes for, against the grain, so to speak. And he was a Steeler fan. And so I was kind of born into it, born with a pigskin in my hand, loved football, loved the Steelers, been a fan since I was born. I became a season ticket holder here recently. I actually started getting into podcasting and talking about the Steelers from a friend of ours, Dave Schofield. He, I was watching Behind the Steel Curtain and just kind of listening and talking with him and stuff like that. I thought maybe I can try my hand and talk a little bit of Pittsburgh Steelers, the team that I love. And so
wait, so you didn't get your inspiration from me on Steelers Touchdown Under? What the hell?
I got a little bit. I'm wearing the shades, ain't I? I saw that intro. It's very nice. Very nice.
Oh yeah, I had a few Sherbets. That's when I was watching the Bengals lose, the 0-3 Bengals, and then Oh man, it just warms my heart that they lost that Super Bowl. It's just the best. So today we're going to talk about state of the Steelers, but I want to start with you first, Owen.
Yeah,
What
mate.
is the state of the Steelers right now? What does that question even mean?
Oh man, do you know what? I'm actually really optimistic going forward, mate. I really am optimistic about the state of the Steelers at the moment. I think we're in a great place. I think Colbert's left us with a superb legacy going forward. I'm super optimistic, mate.
Overall, it's going to be a good time going into training camp.
Oh yeah, definitely. I think we've got. I'm not saying we've got the best O line in the world, but we've got an improved O line. It's going to be better than last year. I think the signing of Minka and the fact that Minka will be taking a full part in training camp now will be fantastic. We've got an elite defense, despite and I think that's a real positive, despite what Colin Cowherd said earlier today. I just think that
What did he say? Because I missed that. You told me off air. You told me or via text something you said. But what did he actually say in the quote?
So I caught a clip. Someone sent me the clip of Colin Cowherd talking earlier, saying that it was a mistake to pay Minka all this money, and the Pittsburgh Steelers should be paying more for their offense. We've got the lowest. We spend the lowest amount on our offense in the NFL. We're 32nd, yet we spend the most on our defense, and then we've got it all the wrong way around.
But defense wins championships. What do you think about that, Daniel? Is that a crazy statement from Cower there? Or what's his name? Colin Cowherd. Cowherd.
Cowherd. Yeah.
Jeez.
Well, that's the first time I actually heard about that statement from him. And like you said, you couldn't be said better. Defense wins championships. However, we have a young quarterback room completely. A lot of credit was given to the Chiefs when they had Patrick Mahomes at a young age on a rookie contract. And a lot of these other guys, Josh Allen, also as well. And so I just think we're coming into that positioning, being one where we're going to have a great defense and a young offense and a quarterback on a rookie contract. I mean, it's actually lining up. And to answer the state of the Steelers question, that right there, lining up because of that, it's putting us in position, to get a window open for a Super Bowl run, in my opinion, at least.
I think so as well. So it's interesting because he says what? So we spend the least amount of money on the offense, right?
Mm-hmm.
But didn't the best offensive team last year get done in the Super Bowl by Aaron Donald, who's a defensive freak? So I don't know what he's saying, but obviously Cowherd or Colin Cowherd, whatever his name is, there's a point where it's like he must be fishing for some kind of reaction to us, I guess, because overall, you look at this defense, right? TJ Watt, Cameron Hayward, Minka, all those guys. We do look at the best defense. And I think there's a point now, if you go into a playoff game, look, I'll say it first. There is a lot of pressure on Tomlin to win this one because of all the people we have, right? What are your thoughts about the defense overall, state of the Steelers?
Well, I think our defense is going to be prime. With Brian Flores coming in, I think he's going to make that tandem between Miles Jack and Devin Bush one of the best ones in the league. Devin Bush kind of had a bad year last year, and a lot had to do with his ACL injury. But, what wasn't really reported out there is, often was that his positional coordinator was missing for the latter part of the season due to a death in the family. And that position coordinator is what helps him get the adjustments in the game. It's what helps him during the practice. It's who they go to more often than probably the defensive coordinator. And so I think just having Jerry O out and also returning from the ACL injury this year, having Brian Flores and being 1 year from that, it's going to prove greatly. We have Terrell Austin coming back in the middle, Cam Hayward. I think our rushing defense can only go up, and it's going to continue to go up, and our defense is going to do great things. With Omar Khan taking care of Minka Fitzpatrick this early, that's just going to shore up and the cohesiveness in the defensive back room and make things a lot better. I think our defense is going to be one that's going to be resemblant of 2019, to be honest with you.
Yeah, I actually think it's going to be something like 2008. We got a fan here. Do you know Jamie Garza? Is he one of your mates, or is that something?
Yes, he is. He's one of my friends. He's the Drunk Turkey Show is a conspiracy channel that me and Jaime Garza and Big Blue that we run on weekdays and on the weekends as well. Catch that.
Here's a conspiracy for you. The Bengals are actually a good team. That's a real good conspiracy for you, mate. All right. I'm telling you, never want to see him win until I die, and hopefully I die like 150 years old. All right. Owen, mate. So, what is the next step, Owen, for this Pittsburgh Steelers team? We're going into training camp. We have, people going on holidays. What do you think the Steelers are doing now to prepare for the training camp? Are they going to sign someone again? Do they go out and sign Joe? What's really the next step you think for the Steelers here?
I was listening to Locked On earlier, actually, and they were talking about the fact, obviously, we've still got quite a lot of cap space. And the Omar Khan, obviously, new GM, would want to make a bit of a splash over and above the Minka deal. So I could see us signing another free agent, perhaps a defensive lineman or even a running back or something like that, just to come in and running back to back up Najee or someone to replace Stefan to it, because I know Chris Wormley had a really solid year last year, but his run defense does worry me slightly. I know he's going to have Tyson back, which will be a major benefit. For me, Loudermilk is still a little bit away from being ready. Leal's a rookie. On Locked On earlier, Chris Carter was talking about Darren Payne from Washington. In fact,
he's not bad.
In his last year of his rookie deal, and that's a possible trade target for the Steelers. Perhaps a mid-round pick plus a player maybe for him.
Yeah, right. But he's a pretty good, pretty big unit as well. And Washington is just a bad team. They're going for, you think about Watson going through some bad things. Washington overall is just going bad. What about you, Steelers? What's the next step for the Steelers? What are we doing? Are we just chilling out? Are we going to talk about our favorite Steelers, which we might in this podcast? We can do whatever we want. It's our show, right? But
exactly.
What's going on? What do the Steelers do? Because I think the offseason has been one of the best in a long time.
I agree with you. A lot of the moves that we've made and and at the time that we've made them have been pretty good. My opinion, I think the outside linebacker position is the one that probably needs the most attention. TJ Watt, of course, is the gem, the defensive player of the year. However, opposite of him is Alex Highsmith. And, as good as he is and as much as he's flashed, he only had 6 sacks last year. He had less than Chris Wormley, and the rotational pieces behind him last year, Taco Carlton and Tuska, played significant defensive snaps. We're going to have somebody in that third piece play some significant defensive snaps this year. And with Skipper and Tuska there, they are who they are. I mean, we also got Jannard Avery. I mean, I'm guessing he might be the one that might be getting the position or the edge right now, but I think we might need to bring in somebody, whether we trade someone or get someone on the free agency. That's the only major hole I see.
Well, I find it funny because I think I've been reading some reports that the Steelers have 89. I think they have 89 plays. Is that correct?
Yeah. Yes, sir.
So would there be a reason why? And I'll open this question up to you, both of you, and I'll start with you first, Owen. What would be the reason, Owen, they have 89 right now? They're not going out there to be, chase happy and go out and grab someone straight away. Is there a reason we're on 89? Do we have to fill that role straight away?
I don't think we have to fill it. I mean, especially, we've got to cut down after training camp anyway to 53. But, I think State of the Steelers and Daniel's right. I think, we could do with an outside linebacker. The guy from Chicago who was released the other day, Jeremiah, now I'm going to butcher his last name here, Ataochu. Sounds like a tissue, but I think he could be a decent person to bring in as a bit of depth there. I think the Steelers were stung last year by Melvin Ingram. I don't think they're going to go for anyone who's high profile, because last time they did that, obviously the Ingram situation happened, and he obviously went sort of towards the start of last season. I don't think they'll go for any high profile person, given the fact they've got a lot of faith in TJ and Alex.
He didn't want to be there, right? Did he? Ingram was just like, I'm the best, I'm here, but he didn't want to be a Steeler, State of the Steelers. What do you think is? You know what? I love your name, by the way, because you can do anything. What is the state of the running back position? What's going on? Let's change it.
In my opinion, it's pretty top heavy. We have Najee Harris there, who's going to be potentially another Pro Bowl back this year again. I think with the addition to the offensive line is going to make him even better. However, I think behind him there's a little bit of a question. Benny Snell coming in. This is going to be his 4th year on the team. And, I think he's only had one solid game where he actually rushed fairly well. But he seems to be a back that needs to have the ball and get consistent carries throughout the game. And when you have Najee Harris in front of him, he's not going to be able to get that. And so he's a big question mark for me as to why he's on the team. I mean, outside of bringing that special teams element. And then we have that change of pace back in McFarland. Now, if he can kind of keep his feet under him and not fall down when he's trying to, juke around there, I think he can be a pretty good asset to our team. I know last year before the season started, there was rumors that they had Najee and McFarland in the backfield at the same time. And so with a mobile quarterback, it'd be very interesting to see, if, that dynamic element, this coming year with Matt Canada being able to open it up a little bit more.
Yeah, and you know what's funny? And I think we can transition into this because I'm still trying to figure out, like we've been talking about the Matt Canada offense, right? And I think it's gotten to a certain idea where the name is bigger than what maybe it is. Because everyone, when you go onto Twitter or you go onto to YouTube and people start saying comments about something and you're like, and then it's a bigger brand than what it is. If you guys are trying to catch on, like the Matt Canada offense. What is the Matt Canada offense, Owen?
I don't know. I think we've got to give him this season. I think obviously last year he couldn't put into place what he wanted because Ben pretty much ran the offense that he wanted. I've heard talk of it being very similar to Buffalo's offense, the way they play the game. If we can bring that in, and obviously having Mitch Trubisky there, obviously learned the system in Buffalo last year, that could be a major advantage. But what is the Matt Canada offense? It's lots of jet sweeps, lots of pre-snap motion, lots of RPO. That's what the Matt Canada offense is on paper.
You know why I think where it started? Because we had the year before him, Finkner, right?
Yeah.
I got a theory in it. So a theory is we had Finkner. It was so terrible, so bad. And then we all, as Steelers fans and Steelers commentators, everyone started talking about the Matt Canada offense, and they built it up, right? It's probably just a normal offense, but for some reason we put that slang in front of it, Matt Canada offense. And I do know there's difference. He does like motion and stuff like that. But last year he didn't really do that much motion, or the motion he did do, you could predict it. Juju would run across, or Claypool would run across. He's going to get the football. Well, nothing really changed. To me, like the offense was really stale. Like you can predict the plays so easily, right? Do you think state of the Steelers that this offense has a better chance, to be better than 32nd? Are we going to be middle tier? What's going to happen?
Well, I think that the biggest answer to that problem is going to be in the offensive line. I think that if the offensive line can give the quarterback a little bit more time, regardless of the mobility department in that position, it's going to reek better for us. Ben Roethlisberger had to throw the ball very quick because he didn't have that much time in the pocket.
Sure.
And then also because of that, the offense had to be ran that certain way. He couldn't, Matt Canada couldn't draw up plays that took a long time because then, we saw Ben lay on the ground quite a bit last year, especially early on. And so I think that was probably the reason why it was a switch after the Raiders game, after he was laid out pretty badly, that we were going back to a very short passing game. So, Kendrick Green, he's a smaller guy and he kept getting pushed around. So I think with Mason Cole there, he's a bigger dude. That's going to alleviate that issue. And I think that's going to allow us to run the ball better. One thing that I've been hearing a lot of raving from the OTAs and minicamp was that Mitch Trubisky was very good at the play action pass. And so with the amount of times that we were able to run the ball and how we can present the run with Mitch Trubisky's ability to play action pass, I think that's going to really, play pivotal for our offense this year and push us into probably a top 15. I don't expect us to jump all the way to the top 10, but I think we're going to move significant boundaries just because of the way we're able to play and how the change in the quarterback position this year is going to be.
We got to bloody move somewhere because, I think it was the Big Ben show last year, and I think we're going into a new era. But one of our mates here, Gene, says, why not go with the Power I with the TE? Owen, what do you think about that? What do you think about using potential, Fryermuth and Gentry on the line and have a big, power formation and bring in Watt and Harris? Are we going to go back to those days and we can use the play action pass with Trubisky if he's number one?
I've seen a lot of talk of that happening. I mean, I can't remember. Do you know what? I'm cross myself for this, but I can't remember the exact stats. But when play action was used in Chicago by Trubisky, he was very, very successful. I think he threw something like 29 touchdowns and only 2 interceptions. He was exceptionally successful when that was called in Chicago. So I think that stands in good stead. And I think we'll see a lot more 12 personnel this year. I think we'll see Gentry and Fryermuth on the field an awful lot this year. given how Canada's been talking so positively. And I think we are going to get back to basics, very much back to Steeler football, smash mouth, in your face, run the ball with Harris, use Freiermuth, use Gentry. I think that will be a major part of our offense this year. I 100% agree with that.
And maybe that might go into helping out, Snell as well, and also McFarland, because that to me, just shouts out Steeler football like back in the day. I wish they would still run the two-back set like Franco Harris and Rocky Bly. I think that'd be great because, well, back in the day, they didn't know who they were going to hand it off to, but each running back, Harris and Bly, they both ran like they were getting the ball anyway, and they were like bulldozers. But I like the idea of using 12 personnel. I think it's 11 personnel too, is where they bring in two tight ends, or they have like that formation, and you have like one receiver. You could put out there Deontay Johnson. You can put out there Claypool, or even Pickens if he's up to scratch. We don't have to go 5 wide with Big Ben did last year, and call his own shots. Who's got more pressure? Stay the Steelers. Who's got more pressure on them this year? Canada or Mike Tomlin? Or are they on the same? They in the same boat?
I think it's going to be Matt Canada. He had the opportunity last year with a Hall of Fame quarterback to, make his offense known. He had an excuse that he was, an older quarterback and wasn't very mobile. So now we've given him, 2 quarterbacks that are first rounders, and we've given him a quarterback that had a first round grade to work with. And so if he can't do anything with those guys at this point, then it's kind of time to cut bait, so to speak, and find somebody that can work with these dynamic quarterbacks, because they weren't drafted in the first round or given that first round grade for nothing. And
you've also got Najee Harris, who looks like the size of a Mack truck. Like he's a big unit, right? Like, yeah, I think some other teams should be worried, and I guess we are a little bit biased, but like the Steelers right now, you have a power back in Najee Harris who put on weight. I don't care if you put on weight. You're meant to go smash someone in the face, right? You have the addition of Pickens, the receiver, Calvin Austin, who's going to be like the crazy fast dude, and Chase Claypool and Deontay Johnson. A bit more pressure on those two guys to step up. And you have a quarterback that, well, whoever starts, if they don't play well, the other guy's going to come in. So This is a whole new era for the offense. And James Daniels at guard, and Mason Cole, I think, is leading towards center. And Kevin Dotson has now pressure behind him with Kendrick Green. So all around, it's no longer the Big Ben show, and the Big Ben era is over. And I love Big Ben, but it's so exciting to see, week 1 when we go into the Bengals territory. I don't know what to expect. I don't know if they will go run, pass, or if they will go 5 wide and get Trubisky, if they will get Deontay or Claypool involved. Like, Owen, mate, what are you expecting for the first? I know this is a crazy question, but we're in June. What are you expecting for the first series in Cincinnati Bungle Land for the Steelers? Like, is a lot of pressure on us that going in there?
I don't think there's any pressure on us going in there, because everyone expects us to get hammered, don't they? We've got the worst quarterback in the AFC North. We're going to finish 4th in the AFC North. We're going to finish with our first losing season ever. There's no pressure on us at all, I don't think. And I think the Pittsburgh Steelers play better when they have this chip on the shoulder, which the media are giving them. The fact that everyone is writing us off and saying we've got no hope, and we've got, a rubbish offense. We've got our offensive line's no better, our quarterback support. What will be the first series? I think straight up the middle from Najee. I think that'll be the first place to smash him in the face. Then mix in a bit of, I think, Freiermuth as well. Is that, I think, use the big guns to soften them up and then open the big passing game on them. And I think George Pickens will go off.
Yeah, it's amazing, isn't it? Because when you start to picture that idea of like how they're actually going to win, if you're going to use Najee up the middle, get him, of course it's going to be a slug match at the start, but if you can gain those 4, 5, 6 yards, then get Freiermuth the ball, get the first downs like Heath Miller used to do. Freiermuth got bigger. If you can start to use Gentry on the outside blocking, and maybe a sneak play where you give him the ball, and then you have Deontay Johnson, where if you can get Mitchell Trubisky, like, I think he'll be week 1 starter. So if he can be comfortable and in his rhythm and ready to go, like if he's like 50 plus and up, ready to go play football, then I'm kind of excited, because like I don't think that everyone's saying that the Bengals are going to go out and smash us. And by the way, I've got 2 video ideas straight away for the Pittsburgh Steelers Syndicate and this one, when we do go out and beat the Bengals, that because all these Bengal haters and Bengal fans are saying, well, the Steelers are nothing and you've won You've won, they won 3 games and they won three playoff games, but now they lost. Stay the Steelers. I want to hear your opinion on the Bengals, right? Why do you think they're so overly crazed right now? Are they just a new team that need to be beaten, or is it all just smoke and the Steelers are going to come back?
Well, with the Bengals, I think they're the new it team that everybody's talking about. They got a quarterback with a significant amount of moxie and confidence that has gone out there and shown a little bit. Now, I'm not worried about them whatsoever. I think that the NFL is a copycat league, and with the emergence of the wide receiver position this year, I think that they think that last year the Cincinnati Bengals success was more Jamar Chase than it was Burrow. And so, I think when it comes to one position, those positions can be coached. We can kind of contain them. It's not something that's going to be stopped completely because Jamar Chase is an amazing receiver, but you can, scheme him out. And so I think we're going to be able to go in there and show them, bring them back down to earth. Last year when we played them the first game, both Alex Highsmith and TJ Watt were both out. I don't think we recorded a sack on Joe Burrow last year. And for the team that, had the most sacks, or got the most sacks in us, and the team that gave up the most sacks, that's huge. And so, this year we're playing them week 1. We're going to go in there probably the most healthiest we're going to be in the entire season. And we're going to be able to show, it's going to be a real matchup at that point. And I think we're going to surprise some people. The pressure is all on them. They're the team that won the AFC North. They're the team that went to the Super Bowl. Like Owen said, we're the team that everybody says we're going to come in last. And so why not punch them in the mouth right away?
I honestly do not get it. So the betting market here in Australia, I don't know if you guys bet, but I bet here and there, right? And the betting market in Australia for the Steelers to win AFC North is $10. And that's the highest I've ever seen the Steelers be in my life. Wow. Right. And we've gotten definitely better in the offseason. I'll take my Steeler cap off. We have gotten better. The removing or Big Ben retiring has made this team better. You can already see that everyone, and they might know it too. They might have been like, the old guy was slowing us down. The old guy wanted to drop this play. The old guy, Big Ben, we love him, and nobody could fire him. You couldn't get rid of him because it would have been crazy if they did that. But Cam and those guys and TJ Watt are like, okay, now we have a fresh, start. And even yourself, Owen, I remember you mentioned before on the syndicate a while back, you're saying how Cameron Hayward and these guys, Najee Harris, were excited to mention Trubisky and they didn't mention Rudolph, right? So they're excited for a new quarterback and everyone's writing him off. It's the exact same scenario as the Bills last year, and they're going to rank us 32 on the offense. They're going to do all these things.
I mean, yeah, all the pressures on everyone, on all the other teams. I mean, I was listening to a podcast on the way home from work the other day, and they were saying that the Bengals receivers, Jamar Chase and T. Higgins, would be the wide receiver 1 on any other team in the AFC.
Which one, T. Higgins?
T. Higgins or Jamar Chase, if they would walk.
He's good. They're good receivers, right? But I just don't trust the overall Bengal organization. I think you can't be too ahead of yourself right now, sitting in June. We have 6 Super Bowls and we have a world-class organization with Mike Tomlin, and we have some change. We were meant to go through the slumps of the rebuilding year. We didn't really rebuild. We kind of just retooled and reshaped, and we signed Minka and done these things where you have Cameron Hayward now for a few years, TJ Watt for a few years. You've got a young quarterback for 4 years that you don't need to pay. You've got Trubisky for 2. Where have we gone wrong? I just don't understand it. I don't understand where we've gone wrong. Is there any real weakness, Owen, you think that we've gone wrong anywhere?
No, the only place that I would have, I think the concerns that I've got for this season will be, State of the Steelers said, outside running back, outside linebacker, and running back. They're the 2 places I do have a slight concern. If anything happens, God forbid, to Najee or to TJ, then we could be in a little bit of trouble because they are just outstanding players. But then any team would be if they lost that caliber of player. But the fact we haven't got any any good depth behind them, that's what I was sort of saying.
Yeah, it's interesting though, because as the show is State of the Steelers, right? And I guess we're doing the State of the Steelers right now. I know we haven't won a playoff game in 4 years, and there are a lot of haters out there. But football is football, and I think what Mike Tomlin has done over the last, 15 years or whatever, never had a losing season. I want to hear your thoughts, State of the Steelers, because myself and Owen are big, supporters of Mike Tomlin. What do you think about Mike Tomlin? And you can be honest, you can hate him or dislike him, but I will block you if you hate him.
No. I love Mike. He's a good coach. The only I guess criticism I've ever had about Mike T has been in his like timing stuff. Calling timeouts. The what is it? The red flag. The
challenge.
Yeah, it's almost like he's very hesitant on those things, isn't he? He's in two minds.
Right, like he doesn't want to lose the timeout, or he's trying to save the timeout, and then he doesn't use it properly. It's just that's been my biggest thing with him. But I know recently in the last few years we haven't gone to the playoffs, or done much in the playoffs. But I mean, if you go and ask anybody else, ask the Bengals fans who just recently went to the Super Bowl. Outside of last year, how has their life been as a Bengal fan for the last decade? You can ask the Browns.
30 years. Took them 11,000 days to win a playoff game.
Exactly. And, and look at the Browns. I mean, they're a complete mess up of a situation, but
we should talk about the Browns. They're in hot water.
The Browns are the Browns. They were going to brown out that entire situation somewhere or another. But, with Mike T, I think that a lot of the fan base is a little bit spoiled. We've seen what New England has done, winning Super Bowl after Super Bowl, knowing what we've done in the past. And I think the expectation has been that. And that is what the standard is. And the team reflects that. And they come and they speak about that. And so when we don't meet that standard, I think that there's a little bit of overreaction amongst the fan base. But I think
a little bit.
Yeah.
A little bit more like, oh my God, what is happening? Like an earthquake.
Yeah, no, well, yeah, there's quite a bit of overreaction. But I think when it comes down and boils down to it, Ben Roethlisberger's been here for a long time, and we've had a winning organization for a while. If things don't fall our way this year and the competition ends up being, better than what we can come up to, then they'll realize what we had. You know what I mean? You can't
exactly. Yeah.
You don't know what you had until you lost it, so to speak. So we're in that position where we're going to find out. We've lost our franchise quarterback. Now, he's not what he used to be, and everybody sees that. But we're moving on to the next step, and it's the unknown, and it's exciting. I can't wait for the season.
Well, I reckon though we have our franchise running back, so I can get back to running the game. But I want to talk a bit about the playoffs, right? If you look at 4 playoff losses about. If you break them down though, right? We had the playoff run. We beat the Miami Dolphins, we beat the Chiefs, and then the Patriots went and beat us in the AFC Championship game. Horrible to see. However, the Patriots were a better team. They were a much better team than us. And I think it was Edelman or someone like that. One of those dudes absolutely took us to town and they beat us. The next year on, we got the Jacksonville Jaguars. They went out and beat us. No idea how that happened, but it was a shootout, right? And that one kind of hurt more. I think it's probably the one that hit the hardest the most. The year after that was the Browns, right? Now, I'm still angry how the Steelers let the Browns win in the last week of Week 16. We had a chance to beat the Browns and not even let them in the playoffs. Next minute, they beat us. They beat Landry Jones, and then they go to the playoffs and they beat us again. That was hard, right? That was we weren't prepared for that game. But the last one, the Chiefs, we were not meant to win that game at all. We got a bit of hope with TJ Watt getting the fumble and going down and getting TD. And I was like 7-0. We have a chance. And then we end up losing 35 to whatever. So it's not like they've been like games we had the best chance to win, because two out of 4, the Patriots and the Chiefs were standouts and they should have won. But I think it comes down to it's hard to win a playoff game. It's hard to win Super Bowl. Mike Tomlin has 1, he's lost 1, and he has won 8 and he's lost 9. So the state of the Steelers right now for me is we're going into a new era. We don't know who our franchise quarterback is. We have a running back, Najee Harris, who's ready to run through a brick wall. Like that guy is, I think, because you saw it last year, he was getting 4 or 5 yards after being tackled, right? Defensive-wise, we spend the most money, sure, but look at the defense. So let's talk about the defense for a little bit. Miles Jack, what are your thoughts on Miles Jack Owen?
I can't wait to see him play. I'm really, he's going to be an absolute wrecking ball. I think, I know some people don't agree with me, but I see a lot of similarities in the way that Devin White and Levonta David play in Tampa Bay to the way that we're going to use Jack and Bush this year. I think they'll be very mobile. They'll get around. They'll hit hard. Brian Flores has already started to have a massive impact with them. He talked about, he's worked on coverage angles with them, tackle angles. I can't wait to see these two guys play, and I can't wait to see Miles Jack play. I think he's going to be absolutely awesome for the Steelers.
And your thoughts too there, Status Steelers? Are you excited to see Miles Jack in a black and gold uniform, not wearing the weird teal, the Jaguars?
Oh, man, I can't wait. I think every Steeler fan remembers what he did to Ben Roethlisberger in that playoff game. And, knowing that type of performance that he has and especially knowing the lack of performance that we had last year in the position, you can't help but be excited for him this year. And not only that, just Brian Flores, backing him up and coaching him along the way. One of the best coaches just altogether is going to make for a dynamic tandem. I can't wait to see him. I think that our defense is going to be one of the best in the league this year, and he's going to be the guy, running that defense.
Wouldn't it be great to see week one? I think a lot of this to me is all look, and I know they can't put too much effort. I know you can put some effort on week one, but you need to go win out. If you win week one, you need to be ready for week two, and you can't put all the eggs in one basket. Wouldn't it be great just to see the defense hold the Bengals to like 10 points? You know what I'm saying? Like, would that be fantastic after all the noise, after all this crap going on, and you're like, okay, we just went out and held your great offense with Jamar Chase and all those fellas to 10 points. We got the victory, 1-0. What else can we talk about, guys? Who is going to be the next signee? I know, Owen, you had thoughts on Chris Boswell or Deontay Johnson. Who's going to sign next?
So you've got Deontay Johnson obviously going to the last year of his rookie contract. You've got Chris Boswell obviously coming up for renewal as well. Personally, I'd give the deal to. I'd re-sign Boswell. I think Boswell's the best kicker in the NFL. Forget Justin Tucker. Boswell's just absolutely awesome. He had that one dodgy year in 2018, but since 2018, he has been absolutely amazing.
So I want to bring up there, James Smith. Jack is going to drop some body. I think so too. I think Miles Jack's in the right place, like 100%. He even talked about it in the interview the other day. Miles Jack was saying, well, he feels like he's in the right place with the Steelers. And it does feel like that because you go into this organization, if you're like a standout player and you've got TJ Watt and Highsmith going to year 3 and all these fellas around, you'd look around and go, I think I'm meant to be here, right? I know I'm a pro and I'm ready to go. What about yourself, Stad, the Steelers? Who are they going to sign next? They signing Deontay Johnson, they signing Chris Boswell.
Well, I think they're going to sign Chris Boswell because Chris Boswell is like Owen said, he's the best kicker in the league. He was clutch after beyond 50 last year. I mean, he's the reason why we one of the reasons why we won so many games and ended up getting into the playoffs. If he misses a few of those kicks, we lose one more game. We're not in the playoffs. We're out. And so he's been clutch for us. Knowing that Justin Tucker is in our division, and then even the Cincinnati kicker, he's not that bad. Yeah, we have to have a solid kicker in the kick game because with those two teams, as long as they get on the other side of the 50, that's 3 points on their scoreboard. Mm-hmm. And so we have to be able to match that no matter what across the board to be competitive. And so I think that it's highly important to get Chris Boswell in. Deontay Johnson, he's a good receiver. I've not been the biggest fan of Deontay, to be 100% honest with you guys. He's faded out last year and the year before with all the drops. It's just one of those situations where I think that the fans got a high expectation of him, thinking he was going to be the next Antonio Brown, and he hasn't lived up to it. And so, which I don't think, shoot, how many receivers can? You know what I'm saying? But I think the George Pickens is going to be a different type of receiver and is going to be a good number one for us, for years to come. So that's where I'm thinking about that. So Chris Boswell is going to be the next Steelers to sign.
I hope so. I think Chris Boswell is a wizard, man. I think like I've got a rule here on my channel. I don't really talk about him too much because I don't want to hex him. Like I've never really done too many videos, but the minute he signs a deal, 100% I'll be shouting him out. Owen, mate, do you want to talk a bit about Pickens again? I know how much you love Pickens and what it means to the team. I kind of feel like now with everything happening with this offense, is he going to be the guy that teams just don't prepare for because they have Muth, they have the I formation, the jumbo set. And then now there's Pickens coming into the equation. What's going to happen with that?
I think Pickens has a potential to have like a Jamar Chase type year because teams are not prepared for him. The fact that there's not as much tape out there of him last year because the ACL injury that he had at Georgia, but he impresses me with his attitude, the way he talks about the game. He's fast, he's strong, he's aggressive. he just has that. He has the it factor, doesn't he? And I know it's football in shorts, but some of the reports coming out of OTAs and out of minicamp about him is just like absolutely awesome. The way he jumps, twists, turns in the air, and then somehow manages to land back on his feet and just explode with pace again and get away from the person who's covering him. He just sounds like an absolutely awesome wide receiver. And I think he's going to be someone who, I think as State of Steelers said, I think he's got potential to be a wide receiver 1 by the end of this year.
Well, they talked about, the Steelers talked about him having that body control in the air where he can contort and move and as he's jumping in the air and have that body position, which I don't think we've seen too much with Claypool. With Claypool being the bigger guy, maybe in year 3 you can do that. But that kind of sounds to me like a bit like Megatron, like Calvin Johnson. He could do that. He could go up in the air and fight off the position of other cornerbacks and make sure he got in the way. I would love to see that from Pickens. I think it's a point now where it's what did we draft him again? Was it 3rd round or 2nd round?
Second. He was second.
Second round pick. So, and people are sleeping on we could have called that. People are sleeping on the Steelers, right? Stay the Steelers. We got Kenny Pickett. We have Trubisky there at quarterback. I think he'll be 1, and then you have maybe a franchise guy again. But how do you live up to Big Ben? But even that doesn't really matter. So you got Kenny Pickett there, Pickens. You got like who's the other bloke? Let's talk a little bit about say the Steelers. What do you think about DeMarcus Leal? Let's go through some of the rookies.
Awesome. DeMarvin Leal's he's one of my favorites.
DeMarvin, sorry,
yeah. He's actually from my hometown. I'm from San Antonio, Texas. Yeah, he's from here. He played here and then he went up and played in A&M. And so I've heard about him. He's one that we've seen before. One thing that a lot of people don't know, or maybe you guys aren't privileged to see, because I'm from the same town as him, is that our local news company went out there and interviewed him. And what he stated was that the Steelers had been interested in him for a while, and that early on in the year, I guess when the Steelers really didn't think that Kenny Pickett was going to be there. And so I think that if Kenny Pickett fell or was drafted early, and I think if Pickens also was drafted, Leal had mentioned that he was going to be there at the 20th pick for the Steelers. So the Steelers at least thought highly of him to give him a 1st-round grade as well. I don't think he's going to play too much this year. I think he's going to be a rotational piece. I think he's going to be a guy that's going to be coming in, to back up Hayward and Loudermilk. One of the things that has been stated about OTAs and training camp is that Loudermilk has come in significantly bigger, and in a good way. He's put on a lot of weight and muscle and mass. And so I think he's going to be backing them up. He stated he's already up to around the 300 pounds. So he's trying to, beat that tag of being a tweener. And so he's going to be in the inside. I think he's going to be good. Watching him, he's got a high motor. He's heavy hands, and he's always attacking the quarterback. I think he needs to work a little bit on his run defense. But outside that, he's going to be a good, solid piece in a third and that in a rotational sense of the matter.
All right, just a bit off topic, but what are your thoughts, say the Steelers, on my meme creating ability?
Man, I laughed at that so for a while. Oh my God. Jeff Harden is a hilarious man. That was funny.
Yeah.
He actually, I guess he said that if somebody purchased that, he'd wear it until training camp. Man, that's funny.
Hey man, I'm having more fun with that. Like as you guys know, I do stuff with BTSC, and Owen does a little bit too. But when I made that, like Jeff loved it, man. And actually, shout out to Jeff because he's been an inspiration, I guess, to all of us. What he's been doing with, talking Steelers and getting on the camera. And I just wanted to, it's funny. Look. Besides Jeff being there, like Pickens is ready, right? Is Pickens not ready to play football?
Pickens he's awesome, man. What I tell people, he's like if Randy Moss and Hines Ward had a baby. Like that's what I think of when I see George Pickens. His ability, his speed, his height, and then the physicality to go with it. I think that's why he's going to be a number one. There was talks like Hunter in the past and OTAs and whatnot was great in shorts, but when it came to the pads, putting on the pads, he didn't show up. And so with Pickens, man, that guy's physical, and you can see it. He's mean and he's ugly on the field. So I don't think he's going to be shy once the bullets start coming through.
Yeah, that's awesome. All right, guys, we're going to end it very shortly. But Owen, what are your thoughts, or what are you excited about Owen in the next, I don't know, month or so? What's happening?
Well, obviously, I think within sort of see if we acquire anyone else over the next few weeks. New deal for Boz. And then obviously the Thornton, I think it's what 4 or 5 weeks now till Latrobe, and I think it'd be fab to see the Steelers back at Latrobe, because I think the last 2 years they haven't been there because of COVID, and even the likes of sort of Chase Claypool and that lot, they haven't been to Latrobe. They've never been there. I think it'd be fantastic, and I think the Steelers have missed that. They've really missed that team bonding, that unique experience that Latrobe brings, and I think that has been something they've missed over the last couple of seasons.
And what about yourself, State of the Steelers, Daniel, mate? Are you going to head down to Latrobe? Do you do those kind of things where you follow the Steelers like that?
I'm actually thinking about going. I went to the draft party in Heinz Field, met up with Big Bro Sco actually, and got to meet and got autographs from Tyson Alualu and Zach Gentry. It was pretty amazing, to be honest with you. This year, I'm actually thinking about going, running some lives and stuff like that from training camp.
I reckon you should. You can be, I'll definitely be checking out your channel more often because you'll be there. You'll be there on the training camp, and check out State of the Steelers on YouTube if you want to see live interviews with Pickens.
Oh, that would be great. I'm hoping to do that. If only I could be so lucky. But go ahead.
I've just looked that up. Man, that is a long way away from Texas.
How far is it? How far?
1,525 miles.
That's a stone's throw away. You'll be there in half an hour.
Fortunately, I got a lot of flyer points on my credit card, so I can make it there and back without paying too much. But as far as the news going from here until the time training camp starts in Latrobe, in my opinion, this is the dead time. So the no news is probably the best, because the only news that's going to come out is bad, outside of the signing of Chris Boswell or potential extension of Deontay Johnson, and also picking up that 90th person. Those are the three things that I think that could happen, or a trade. Outside of that, I'm not looking to get any news, because anything would be bad, in my opinion.
Yeah, no, I agree with you too. It's going to be, just going to chill out. But I just thought of one final question. Owen, who would you roommate with if you had to go to Latrobe? What player would you want to roommate with? And you got to think about this, because you've got big Cam Hayward in there. Surely he snores. Who are you going to surely that guy's like a bear. Who do you? I'll try and answer my own question near the end too, and then we'll end with that. Who do you want to roommate with in Latrobe out of all the players?
Do you know what? I'd actually go for Zach Gentry, because he sounds hilarious, man. Listening to him on that mic'd up the other day with Pat Freiermuth, Zach Gentry sounds proper funny. So I think you'd have a laugh. I think it'd be an absolute laugh a minute been with Zach Gentry or Pat Freiermuth. Drew,
what about yourself, State of the Steelers? Who would you want to roommate with in Latrobe if you were playing or whatever?
Oh man, if I was able to be there, it no doubt would be Najee Harris. That guy is a hoot. He's funny. I mean, he came out on the Spanish channel here not too long ago, and it was just hilarious. You guys got to look that up.
He's so good. Yeah.
It would definitely be Najee.
For me, I was just thinking then, I think, because the kind of guy I'm I want my quiet, right? I don't like, I love people, but don't like, here's the thing. I love people, but I don't like crowds. So, I'm not a big, when you go to an event, there's 15 people and there's everyone telling a story. I have more fun, talking to the dogs or talking to one person one-on-one than I do the whole crowd. Anyways, I would probably choose Minka Fitzpatrick, because I think he's kind of like that too, kind of a chill guy. He would probably just be like, all right, man, training camp was real good. We played well today. See you later. Put the headphones in and sleep. That would be I think would be kind of fun. But in Owen's scenario, Gentry would be you guys would be trying to mess around with other dorms. You'd be knocking and running. You'd be doing trying to plan things to go have fun. Then you get Freiermuth in there too, and all three of you blokes would be out there causing mischief. It'd be crazy. It'd be crazy time. All right, fellas, you guys want to plug your stuff? Owen, plug your stuff, and then State of the Steelers, plug your stuff after.
Just guys, check out Britsburgh Owen on YouTube, and obviously check out Pittsburgh Steelers Syndicate with me and Mark on YouTube as well. It's been fantastic, what we've managed to achieve on Pittsburgh Steelers Syndicate. So they're two things. Definitely go and check those out, guys.
100%. And yourself, State of the Steelers, where can we find you?
You can find me on YouTube and Facebook at State of the Steelers. Please go find us right now. We're giving away 2 tickets to some lucky subscribers to see the Steelers as they take on the Jets on October 2nd. And so come subscribe. Yeah, just search up State of the Steelers.
Hey, I can't win them though, so don't give them to me, all right? All right. So if I win them, go give them to someone else. Yeah. Thanks, fellas, for coming on. Stick around to the after show for a little bit. Britsburgh Owen, you're fantastic, doing great stuff on Syndicate. I'm so happy to have you as a as a mate, a friend, and a partner doing the stuff we're doing with Syndicate. It's bloody awesome. I got to do my video today, and we're kicking goals over there. We're kicking Chris Boswell goals. Stay the Steelers, mate. Fantastic to see you from, in the live chat with BTSC, and now you've made the big jump to go out there and talk about Steelers online. It can be pretty heavy sometimes, but it's super. It's a lot of fun. And I appreciate you guys coming on here. Maybe we can do this more often, maybe once every month. I don't know. We're trying to figure something out where we can go on each other people's shows. We can go on Owen, we can go on yours, and that way we can spread the love and see people, and then try and get Pepper to come on Owen or to come and say the Steelers. So yeah, we'll be around town. The reason why we do this is because we love the team, and the reason why I do this is because people don't want to hear me in Australia. They don't care about me in Australia. They don't care about the Steelers. They don't give one razoo about the Pittsburgh Steelers, and I can talk about the Pittsburgh Steelers online. All right, guys, stick around. Thank you, everyone, for coming and checking out the Steelers Ironcast. The reason why I made the Ironcast was to meet you fellas and to meet other guests. I'm still trying to get on my mate Steelers mascot Troy. We all know, but he's so busy. Have you guys heard of mascot Troy?
Yeah, he's sound, man.
He's the busiest guy in the world. Like, I haven't texted him recently because I've just seen him been doing so many things, and I might try and reach out again. But the guy is just all over the shop doing like community stuff, and yeah, he's a great guy. So I made the Ironcast to bring on guys and promote your stuff and just talk football. We did that today. Watch out, Bengals, because we're coming to win 1-0, and I've got 2 video ideas that will break the internet. I've got like comments that I'm trying to save from the Bengals saying, "Oh, you suck, you're terrible." You just wait, mate. You're 0-3 for a reason. All right, guys. Thank you for checking out the Steelers Ironcast. I'll see you years later. Hang on, wait. Whoa. I forgot something. You know what I forgot?
What it is.
Hey, Mark. Shout out to you, bro.
Let's go! 0-3, baby!
See, that's what I'm talking about, bro. I'm talking about